Do you have credit card debt? Well, even if you don't, I'm going to show you why we've got to pay attention to this news. There's a big change coming out and you need to be aware. In today's video, we're going to talk not only about student debt, but we're going to look at the credit card debt and all forms of it. I'm going to show you something that is extremely important here and why all of the big corporations are talking about it right now. In today's video, we're also going to cover some other aspects related to real estate. We're going to look at what's happening with inflation, of course. I want to talk about basically what's happening with the consumer overall, and it is quite a shock to some. If you find value in this video, simply hit that thumbs up button so that we can make sure that this is getting out to everybody. First things first, can you believe it? I want to give you the hard-hitting information right away. Student loan mentions in earnings calls is now at a record high. We've never seen anything like this before, and this is a problem. Do you understand why this is an issue? Well, first things first, we've got the credit cards, we've got the student loans, but I want to know if you know about the big change that is taking place between September and October. All right, we've talked about this before. If you're not if you've been around this channel for a while, you probably do know, but for those who don't, right around this time frame, okay, we're going to experience a change, and that is the 3-year moratorium on student loans is ending, and that means 40 million people, they've got their student loans right now, 40 million people must resume paying. Those people on average have $400 payments per month. We don't know what it's going to be, obviously, but that's the average payment, $400. And that number is interesting because I've seen so many different studies that show people have around $200 to $400 left at the end of the month. And so we now have people paying $400 in addition to what all their other bills that have gone up substantially since 3 years ago. Remember this, 3 years ago, yeah, they were in debt, they were pushed to the edge and so on, but everything cost less. Now their rent is higher, their mortgage is higher, their energy bills are probably higher, their food prices are definitely higher, their services they pay for are higher, everything's higher. And now you stick this bill that was, it's their debt, now they got to pay more on that. Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is a big thing, but the point is the companies are talking about it. You might ask yourself, which companies, who is most affected by it? Well, they're going to be obviously with the consumer discretionary things, things that people don't necessarily need. Those companies are going to be hit hardest. But look, let me show you. Frontier, Peloton, and Old Navy are among the most exposed brands as the student loan payments are set to resume. All I can tell you, you could look at the chart. I know the font is pretty small. However, if you pause it, zoom in, or you can, go through, and the links are in the description under the sources. But essentially, you're talking about, the Pizza Huts and, all these Barnes and Nobles, Peloton, all these companies, the ones that you're used to seeing. People don't need it. That's a simple matter of fact. Do you need to buy another pair of jeans? Do you need to buy those new clothes? Probably not. And so what we're seeing right here is the brands that are most exposed. So their stocks could take a hit. That's one aspect. But at the same time, if customers are not coming in, people are going to be laid off. Simple matter of fact. So watch the chain reaction. If you personally are exposed to this or know family members that are, maybe send them this video or send them the links so that they can see this for themselves and understand why, so that they can wise up and say, you know what, maybe I do have to make a change. At the end of this video, we're going to talk about the things that you need to do personally. Very important stuff, life-changing stuff for some. Look at what's going on with the consumer, okay? Consumers consumers power the US economy, and their capacity to spend has repeatedly defied predictions. In early 2020, after a short but severe recession caused by what happened, the consumers splurged on big ticket goods, from patio furniture to flat screen TVs, home entertainment, because, what they said was revenge spending couldn't go away. Okay, fine, I'm going to spend my money around here and make my house better. They renovated their homes and so on. Okay. Now we've got a little bit of an issue because inflation is high and uncertainty is also high. And so here they're saying, yeah, the spending remains solid, but I think people need to realize something. This is just, I've said it 1,000 times before. You've got an issue where people are spending a lot of money, but it's on the stuff that they spent less on before. And so you got to really dig into that to understand it. I mean, they just look at total dollar values or compared to the GDP and stuff. That's not what it's all about. You got to realize these companies, I will show you in this video the real deal. Because if you're going to go by how are retail sales doing today, huh? And you're going to get the CNBC type of stuff. Do you want that? I can tell you right now, if you look at what's popular, that's what people want. If they only knew the truth, it's just like, I'm sure you're watching. Once you realize the truth about something, you can't walk it back. You can't walk it back. I know you're in those circumstances. You've got family, you've got coworkers and friends and so on, that if you could just, wake them up, that they would get out of their slumber. But unfortunately, for a lot of people, they don't. They do not, and that's just wild. But anyway, household debt is at an all-time high, but don't worry about it because 2008 was still worse. Great news, everybody. Great news. Okay, by some measures, Americans have never been more in the red. Total credit card debt surpassed $1 trillion for the first time ever this year, but adjusting for inflation, don't worry about it. 2008 was much worse. You take it how you want. It doesn't matter if it's worse or not. That doesn't necessarily equate to an event that occurs that's worse or not worse. What it means is that people are heavily in debt. Credit card debt is 20% interest. Are you going to take that? Student loans on top of that. We never had a 3-year moratorium on student loan payments. These things are coming due. 8 in 10 shoppers hit with an out-of-stock item due to supply chain disruptions. Now, I thought when I read this article that I was going back in time. I got deja vu. I went in my time travel machine. I went back. I was like, no. I'm in 2020 suddenly. Apparently not. Because this is going on now again. And I cannot believe it. I mean, I am shocked about this stuff. Look, more than 4/5, 82% of brick and mortar shoppers say that they experience items being out of stock this year. So here we go. I mean, yes, you're going to see it's a survey. Yeah, I get that. But it does tell you a story. Whether it's 82%, whether it's 60%, whatever. It's a lot of people are experiencing it. And that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. I thought we fixed the logistics. I thought we were going to bring all the manufacturing back home, but no. Okay. And so you see that in food industry, you see that in retail and so on. You've got clear issues, which brings us to the charts of the day. How do you like them charts? Remember, at the end of this video, I've got some notes for you. We're going to go through what you need to do about this. Don't just sit idle. Don't just say, whatever, charts, data. Yeah, I get it. You have to take action today, and we'll talk about the steps you can take, okay? Here's it. What you need to know. Asian demand is weak. No wonder global PMIs are so weak. So when you look at the, basically manufacturing, that tells a story. Imports and exports, those tell a story as well. Shipping, those tell a story. And we're going to look at all that today. And so you could see it when very clearly these are definitely correlated. And guess what? The manufacturing indexes and Asia imports are year over year, they have declined. Now we're getting a big change in the manufacturing index, but it ultimately remains to be seen what happens there. But the point is that this is a signal of global weakness. They got Asia Big Four, You've got US mortgages sinking to the lowest level since 1995. Of course, increase those interest rates. At the same time, people are just kind of waiting and seeing what the results of all of this will be. Are we going to head into a recession? Oh, who knows? People are waiting it out. And inventory in the mean, and by the way, builders, as talk about right here, double top in home builders recession signal. They really shouldn't have increased in the first place, considering that they're not building as many homes as they were before. You've got other issues too. And so here we are, right? This is a very unusual circumstance with the home builders. They are, they have increased costs right now with their wages. Also, the building materials are overall up. It's not like you're trying to follow lumber and so on. No. Overall, the costs are up, and they're not building the homes that they were before. So, you try to make some sense of that, okay? Kind of seems clear as mud, as they say. Zillow, who had a lot of issues just a couple of years ago, they started to, realize Zillow offers 1% down payment to attract more home buyers. Oh, sure. You put 1% down, of course, but that's probably not going to end so well. So, probably shorting Zillow might be a good idea. Mortgage demand from homebuyers drops to a 28-year low as interest rates soar. I think everybody knows about that. Now, let me talk about the shipping industry as a whole very quickly, but connected in with all this is that container ships are waiting at Asian ports as retailers struggle to shift excess stock. So I've been telling you about this, and now here's the data. It's coming through. You got to realize how big this is. It tells a story. When I bring you something, it's all interconnected. It makes sense. It makes sense, okay, when you just piece it all together. You've got issues. It's not just China. Here we go, right? There were 13 blank or canceled container ship sailings between Asia and Europe in July. And analysts expect the trend to continue in the coming months. Supply chains are getting more complex. Retailers are sourcing from many more locations in Asia than they used to. This is true. Depends on the type of materials. Depends how big the companies are too. Truckers are accepting rates 15 to 25% below their costs. Unbelievable, the changes that are going on. But I just shipped products at the highest price I've ever done. I've shipped over 4,000 products. That was the highest price I've ever had to pay, which is I think it's 5 times the cost I was paying a few years ago. So I don't know what's going on with that, but let me know about these truckers because I want to do business with them. Drought affecting the Panama Canal threatens 40% of the world's cargo ship traffic. There's a lot of ships just waiting. They cannot process the ships at the speed they used to before. As a result, they got some serious issues. Look, you got to know what you've got to do right now. Don't just sit idle. Don't just, go off into the next video. Take action. Listen to what I got to say. These are just a couple points. Invest in the skills relevant to the next 10 years. There's a lot of changes coming out. We got AI, robotics, globalization's changing. The whole face of the world is changing, and you need to invest in those future skills. One of those things could be to go to Class Central. It is a free thing that, MIT, Stanford, all these different colleges, universities are giving out free education. You can get certified in these things, certification programs that are free. Class Central. So learn about that stuff. If it's some other skill you want to learn how to sell on Amazon or whatever, I've got information for you. Link in the description. Find yourself around others doing what you like. Sometimes that requires you to pay a little bit of money, but you got to be around the right table. It's extremely important. Extremely important. What they say. There's a quote. I'll butcher it, but it's saying if you can't get at the table, serve water. Okay, because you're going to be the one to at least be around in proximity of the people. That means you got to join online groups like the Discord that I have. You got to go anywhere you can, anywhere. It's going to make a huge difference in your life. Look, let's be honest. Our family, our coworkers, our friends, they're oblivious to a lot of the stuff. So you got to get in on it, okay? However you can. Buy companies that profit from government and regulation. So a lot of changes are happening right now, but get in on it, understand it, and then you'll be able to adapt to the circumstances, okay? Government makes a change, new regulation comes in, that shifts the whole landscape. Know those things, track those things. I will try to cover more of that. If you hit that thumbs up, you're really supporting the channel. If you want to join it's coming close to 1,200 like-minded people, well then come on in. I've got tips on getting out of debt on here. I got tips, all kinds, all different types of things. So you can come in to the Discord, check it out, and then say hi or put a request through. Why not? Let's look at really quickly at the comment of the day. I wish AU would had house price declines like China. China experienced some price declines of like 20%. And thank you very much for that, for your comment. Appreciate all the comments. I really think it's important to look at this stuff and realize that things are getting serious today, okay? I've got way too much information. I can't even get to all of it, but here we are. If you found this informative, hit that thumbs up, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.